Welcome, 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 welcome in. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Be Clay. It's your girl, Alisa. Yes, we are here, and I am truly thankful that you are here with me on this day, that you can be listening to anyone else, but you're here listening to me, and I appreciate it. Thank you. Here on the Be Clay podcast, we are on the journey, a daily journey. This is not I'm gonna say it like a race, but it's like a marathon. But basically, we on a daily journey to learn how to be clay. And what does that mean? To be what? To be molded. Yes, shaped and molded. Our job as clay is not to sit up here and try to tell the potter what we should be. Where our job as clay is to just be what we're supposed to be, whatever he decides that we needs to be. And so whatever has to happen, the process that needs to be it may be excruciating, but whatever the process that needs to happen, there is a purpose for it. Okay. And so yes, that's what we're doing. So today, first of all, before I get into this episode, I want to say, yay me. Okay. Listen, we have to learn how to celebrate every single victory. Okay. Don't matter how small it is, just celebrate it. If you just celebrate, say yay, that's a celebration, because I don't care if you made a goal and to be consistent on something and you did it 2 times out of the week, celebrate that. Okay. Because then if you, like me, who struggles with consistency, struggles with discipline in yourself, struggles with procrastination, okay, celebrate every single victory. So today it is May 24th, and this is the 3rd episode that we are actually recording on time. So we're celebrating. Yay me. Okay. All right. So here we are. We're here. Right. So today, you guys, we are on my healing journey, right? That started and well, I really hit the ground running, I guess, in 2023, but the motivation was the end of 2022 when I finally was like, okay, let's it. So if you guys are just joining in, please go to the other episode so you can understand how I made it in my mind. We're doing this no matter what. Okay. There is a part that I did not there was also in addition to my children being the why of why we needed to go ahead and get this healing started and on the road and not stop until it's done. Not say done, but you know what I mean, whatever it takes, basically. There was another part. Okay. A part, and I'm not ready to talk to that because that's a totally different, we gonna get to that. Which, I'm going to, we're going to talk about it, because not talk about the exact thing, but I'm going to talk about remember I talked about what to expect, right? And being able to accept truth, right? And one of the things of the truth that I had to understand was some of my relationships, okay, that I had was like trauma bonds, right? Where we were in a relationship just because of traumas that I didn't even realize it right away to some degree. But I did whatever I can do to stay in a relationship. But in order to stay in those relationships, I had to stay in that trauma, or I had to stay triggered by the traumas. I could not actually break through these traumas. And so that is a key component, because in this year of 2023, is where God was really trying to show that to me. So we are going to break 2023 to 2024, 2025, and 2026, because we are actually, by the time I get to 2026, we are basically going to be halfway through with it, right? Because June is next week. I'm going to do it the first 6 months and then the last 6 months. So one episode is going to be the first 6 months, and the next episode going to be the last 6 months, because it's just too much to try to rush it all in one. Okay, it's very dense. Okay, so now, and that matters, because that part I just said matters. So keep that in your head. Okay, bookmark that. Bookmark that thought. All right. So here we are in January 2023, January 1st. We just come home from church and from watch night service. And, I'm just like thankful to God of what he has, what has transpired, even thinking about me enough to have someone speak into my life and let me know that I was going to be okay, that he got me. Right. And so, all right. So we're reminiscing on the aftermath, and we're getting ready for our fast. Every January is my month of consecration. Every year is different. So this year, we were doing the first three. It's a 21-day fast. The first 3 days of this 21-day fast, we were going to fast. Do a dry fast for 3 days, but you do it's up to 3 days. So depending on the level of, what you can handle, whether you can handle 1 day, 2 days, or 3 days, that's what you're going to do. And then later we actually, the last 3 days of the 21-day fast, whatever how many days you did, the first 3, that's what you're going to do the last 3. Okay. And so in between those dry day fasts was 1 meal a day. Okay. Now I'm like, listen, God, I need you so bad. Okay. I need you to do something. So I need you so bad. I'm desperate for you, God. So I did 6 days. Okay. Because someone told me, I heard that after 3 days, your body started to eat itself. And I say, well, and I don't know if this was correct or not, but I say, since my body going to start eating itself, I need to eat away some things that I need to let go. I need to eat some toxicities in my body, some toxins, and that's probably not the word toxicity, but there's some toxins and different things that, in my body. So let this happen. I don't know if this is going to happen. I don't know, but I needed it to happen. So I did 6 days. I think I should did 7 days, to be honest with you. Because I know I did 6 whole days. I don't think I ate a meal. I think I ate the meal at the beginning of I don't know. But I did more than 3 days. So, because I needed God to do something. And, so I was definitely desperate. Okay. Definitely desperate. So God, during that fast, God began to show, he just really began to deal with some of the thought pattern that I had. Something that happened, what happened in December, one of the things that was a thought pattern that I had was something that I incorporated as I'm not allowed to make a mistake. Right. And, which I have heard because the way I was raised in the house that I was raised, that, we weren't allowed to make a mistake. When we make mistakes, it's like we were made to feel like we were worse than dirt. Okay. Because you made a mistake, and it could have been something as simple. It could be something simple sometimes. And sometimes whatever happened wasn't necessarily our fault. Like one of the things that, happened, somebody stole something of mine, and then because that happened, we were punished, you know what I mean? So we were never allowed to make a mistake, right? And so every time I make a mistake, and I always get into this panic mode, right? Oh my god, Ooh, Jesus, thank God for healing. Oh God, I used to get into this, but no one knew that. No one knew and understood why I acted the way I acted. They just saw the aftermath, but they didn't understand where it came from, should I say. But I will get into this. I'll panic. I'll just have a panic attacks. I will get in this great anxiety, fear. I will be paralyzed, depending on the situation is, but it'll be real, real, real bad. Okay. It'll be real, real bad. So, now, so I talked about, in addition to my kids, right, wanting to get healed. The other motive that why I needed to get healed was something that I grew up with, where there was a different ulterior motive. Okay, now, which we're going to dive in deeper later on, but. So for those that know me, I am mature from like my age, right? And I have been basically all my life, naturally as well as spiritually. And so I talked about how I walked around saying that I was the man of the house. I believe I said that in my last episode. And because I was able to see things and spiritually wise, and I was like, you know what? They can't see it. I got to do it. And so I grew up in that, right? I grew up where I felt like I had to be the one to do, I won't say do everything, but you don't see it. You don't understand what's going on here. Spiritually wise, I know what to do with it. I'm going to do it. I know enough for the both of us, or the three of us, in every relationship that I was in, for the most part. If there was ones who were stronger than I am, or just as strong as I am, spiritually wise, then we were able to, like, equally or whatever, pour in and whatever needs to be done in our relationship. But if we're talking about, out of all the relationships that I have, the majority of the relationship, I was the strongest one spiritually. And so wherever someone is not, now what I'm saying is, there's something when you're in a relationship, and this is our relationships, right? There's our pivotal points in relationships where, after things happen, where you decide and make sure to make choices where this relationship is does it work? Is it worth it to continue on or not? Right? Depending on whatever. But we all do that without really realizing that's what we're doing as we go through things in every relationship. And that's where we decide that we might stay in relationships, but we may change the way that our position in the relationships, right? I love you, but I love you from a distance. Do you understand? Like, we still friends, but we won't hang out every single day like we used to. Whatever case may be, we make these decisions based on what has happened, and it may be period, or it may be seasonal, or at this time, maybe because you're going through something, or the other person is going through something, or the other people are going through something, or whatever case may be, we make these decisions. So for me, what I would do is I would just take the responsibility for the other parties in the relationship to really do what's needed to be done to make this relationship work or effective. I'll just say I'll do it. So if in the relationship, it may be they really do somewhat have the capacity to be like a 60-40 relationship, or they have the capacity to, if I'm doing 60 and they doing 40, but they they have the capacity to do 40, but they're only putting in 20. It said I said, okay, I'll put in the other 20. It's okay, because I know what to do with it. I'm strong enough for the both of us. I'm strong enough. And so this was one of the other motives, because in multiple, when there's one main toxic relationship I've had, but it was really altered relationships where I felt like, okay, once I get healed, then I'll be strong enough to sustain my part as well as your parts too as well. Okay. So it was just like, okay, look, I healed. I got here. We all gonna be good because I'm good enough for me to continue what I was already doing. But that God was like, no, ma'am, I'm not doing it. Okay. So and again, hold that part, because this is the point, the pivotal part of at least these first 6 months of the 2023. So in January, he's began to, all right, Lisa, let's get the ball rolling. He began to tell me, okay, this is because he started off with the situation that happened in December. What happened? What really happened? What you did? What was your part? Why you felt this way? Where this come from? He did all of that in January. And what I began to do is, go back and say I apologize and things like that to the people that, that I was like, oh my God, going crazy with. And, because he's began to really show me, especially within that 21 days of, because I began to detox those old thoughts and those old habits. But this was basically really the preparation for my surgery. Okay. So, if anybody who's going through surgery that's sick, especially, like, it's like when you sick, like you got cancer, and I'm gonna also use weight loss surgery, right? These two surgeries as my analogies. Okay. So understanding, in January and February. In January and February, this was what's happening. I basically was doing this like and I didn't realize it was a trap, but it was, right. It's like, look at me, trap. I'm healing, enough to sustain the toxic relationships. That's not great. Okay. Because I wanted to see what I was doing and healing. Okay, so it's a trap. In one way, I was saying, look at me getting healed so I can sustain the toxic relationships that I'm already in, as well as hopefully that you will see me get healed and you will want to do the same thing so that we can actually have a better, healthy relationship. Okay, it was two different things, right? So, but yeah, I don't know. But the reality is, you shouldn't be wanting to get healed to change somebody else or like that. Am I making sense? Like, you should not. That's not right. That's why I got like, no, dog. Okay, whatever you trying to, no, babe, we're not doing that. That's not how I do things. Okay, that's not how we do things over here. That's not what I do. It should not be a performance or whatever to change somebody else. It's really to talk about the changing yourself, and it's also, but you shouldn't want to stay in a toxic relationship, right? You shouldn't want to. Because staying in a toxic relationship or an environment we already know it's exhausting. But that's okay, because God, I didn't know no better. I thought I did, but I didn't know. I didn't really understand what I was doing. I was just doing these things. But basically, and when I didn't understand and know that, again, like I said, that I was in preparation for my surgery. Okay, as he was detoxing me so that I can be able to actually hear him and understand these instructions. So now we're in preparation for surgery. So in March, we had a 1-week revival in March. And in this revival, it was 1 week and I showed up every single day. Now, not only did I show up every day, but I also have my children. So this was the surgery. Okay, that revival was the surgery for me, and not just for me, but for my children. And he cut deeply. So you know how when you are in surgery, and just to say you have cancer or a tumor or anything, where the surgeons go in and they cut as much as they possibly can without killing you, right? Sometimes they it may spread so much that they only can do certain areas, and they may only can do certain areas at certain time and certain time frames, right? Depending on how much is spread, because if they try to get every single thing out that time, you can die, right? Or something, it will be, maybe not die, but there may be greater problems, right? Because you may hit, it's too close to arteries or other areas, and it's going to not be great for you. And so basically, this is exactly what was happening in this week of March. God cut away as much. Not that he's not able to cut everything up, but he know that wouldn't be smart. It wouldn't have been smart for him to cut away everything, because remember, I told you there are levels to these things. He understood and knew what I can actually, handle, right? Okay. And so he did cut a lot, and he cut deep. Okay. He cut a lot. He cut deep. He cut a lot of areas, especially this heart of mine. Oh God, he did it. There were things that were in me that I inherited, not just from like my mama and my daddy, but you're talking about aunties and uncles on both sides, and from generations and generations past, okay, that I inherited, that I was walking into. So he was going down deep, okay? He was going down deep into these areas and cutting away. These are things so there was a lot of things that was from my own choices, right? So he cut away those things too. But there was a lot of things that was inherited, like that even motivated or was the, help me manifest these choices, decisions that I made. So he was taking out these life-threatening mindsets, these life-threatening things that, because he didn't want to destroy me, but it was life-threatening for my life right now. And we'll get back to the other parts. All right, we'll get back to the other thing. So again, remember, healing happens in stages. There's a level to these things. All right. So on the first day, right, I only took 2 of my kids. I took my 2 younger ones, and they also brought their friend. And not only did they, now I knew that I already had in my mind that this week we let's go, God. We in this thing. We doing this. This is perfect, because I need it all. I need it all. But not only did I need it, which I did not expect, that my children was like, oh, we with you. Not we with you, but I need him for myself as well. And we all getting it. I did not expect that. For them to do it at that time. So I realized that even at pre-op surgery, my children was actually watching me in that time frame. So they was like, okay, you know what? He gonna do it for you. He gonna do it for me too. So I took my 2 kids, and they came with their friend, and they all was up at the altar, and God did it for everybody. So he was cutting away for them as well. And that he also, to be honest with you, gave me even more of a, like, God, you definitely got to do it. I can't have you cutting things for my kids and my babies, and I won't go get it done. That doesn't make any sense, right? So he began cutting for those 2, which the next day I brung another one of my children, and they also was like, all right, let's go, God. And God did it for them too. And so by the end of the week, 5 out of my 6 children literally was on that surgery table themselves and getting what God needs to get them done. And they are still in it today. So when I said that he freed me, he not just freed me, but he freed me and my children. So let me tell you one thing. First of all, let me explain this. Baby, we don't play games over here. We do not sugarcoat anything over here. We don't play games over here. I told my children, since they were younger, listen, when you in school and stuff, or you playing around in this neighborhood with your friends and stuff like that, and y'all be having these conversations about religion, or, whether whoever go to church or don't go to church, or quote unquote religion, because this is not religion, but that's another podcast for those who don't understand. This is not religious relationship. However, don't tell nobody that you're saved or you're a Christian. Don't tell them that. Don't tell them that. Say that you go to church, and you only go to church because my mama's making me, and that's when they were younger. Because you can't stay home by yourself. Okay, you were like 2 years old, 3, 4, 5. You can't stay home by yourself, right? Now, and I didn't make them. Now, I didn't make them. After a while, they're older enough where they could stay home as well. Their daddy wasn't going, so they just stay home with their daddy. So, but do not tell them, because then you'd be lying. You could say your mama's a Christian, or, your mama's saved. She's a believer because she made a decision on her own. I'm not forcing Jesus on nobody, okay? I'm not forcing him on anybody. I'm not forcing him on my kids. First of all, he's not forcing a relationship with me. I will not force a relationship with them. That is something that you have to make on your own. You have to make that decision on your own, because a lot of times, and I have seen it, we get saved. People got saved for fire insurance. Oh, I don't want to go to hell. And then when stuff happens, they like, oh, I left that. That's why I don't want to be saved anymore. Because no, we're not doing that. You're going to make an informed decision. You're going to understand there's a cost to this thing, because even Jesus himself says that, okay, count the cost before you come to me. So that's what we're going to do. Now, you're going to have the foundation, because, you're not only getting inside the church, but you're getting it at home. And I have to trust the foundation, but you got to make that decision for your own. Baby, we don't play games over here. No. I'm not that one, because at the end of the day, as much as I want to be, I can't. This life, you have to want it. Because once you say yes, baby, there's some things you got to do and sustain. And I can't be the one. Like, you can't want to only do it because I do it. You're never gonna make it that way. You're not gonna. You could make it, but so far, should I say? You only gonna make it, but so far, because everything that I do going to take you, but so far. You're gonna have to want it for yourself. You're gonna have to want it for yourself, because it's gonna be, in fact, like when you in school. I'm not in school with you. Now I can pray a prayer of protection and things like that while you're in, and God, he does it. But to get some of these things that you want them to get, baby, that's prayers that you're going to have to go to God for yourself. You got to learn to know for yourself. So we don't play it over here. So, but 5 out of my 6 children decided, yeah, I want him for myself, right? I want him for myself. And they are still there today. Thanks to the Lord. They are still there. Okay. They're not playing games when it comes to him. Right? They didn't just do it and say, okay, and then for one day. No, and if they, kind of like, I'm not reading my Bible as much, they be the ones to tell them. I ain't got to tell them when to read their Bible. I don't have to tell them none of that stuff. They do that on their own. They could come and tell me, I've been inconsistent, whatever. They do that. And sometimes in some areas, especially this last 3 years, I look at them like, I'm glad, because they was in it more. They was in their word more than I was. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be transparent. We don't lie over here. We're gonna tell the truth on this place, right? So, that January, February. Now we in March, and March was life-changing for me and my children. Life-changing. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Life-changing. And so now we in April. Now that we in April, we're walking around light, floating, feeling like, I'm so free. When I'm talking about, when I say, my brain, my mind was like clear. Like, it was amazing. It was amazing. I think I got on so many people's nerves, because I was just, I was like, oh my God, I just was crying every day of how free I was, because when I said that he cut away so much, and then to see my babies my babies on the floor because they wanted to be on the floor. Like, you want them, Jesus, like, it was amazing. And I just had this, like, you know what? Ain't nothing. I don't want to mess this thing up. I just knew that I had to be careful of what I do, and how I respond to this newness of this free, because it's, when you get free, you have to fight to stay free. And that was one of the things, what's we're looking for. That was one of the issues or problems that I had when it came to other times when, like, the quick fix healings and the quick fix things, whatever, where I will get free from some things and, whatever case and be, and I will go right back and it'll be worse, because this part right here is the recovery after the surgery. Is this part that I usually mess up all the time. And this time I was like, I gotta be careful, because it's not just me, but it's my babies. My babies is on that floor as well. And so we are in these things together. And so we all gotta you know what I'm saying? We got to be hand in hand. We got the surgery. How we respond as recovery is critical for the future, right? How we handle our recovery is critical for the future. Okay. And so we, now let me get started off. April 1st, I had something happen. I would say some news. It shook me. I said, what? Really? It's unexpected. Okay, which I don't understand why. To be honest, now I'm looking back like, why? How was that unexpected? But whatever. It was unexpected at that time. Okay, at that time, and it definitely was something that could have took me to my old ways, like, because again, remember I told you that when I got healed, or when I was in my healing process, especially in January and February, it was like I was expecting, like, all right, well, maybe people don't think that I'm really, whatever. So now there's a greater evidence of healing after March, whatever we did in March. So I'm thinking like, all right, so they like, all right, okay. So now we can be good. So this was letting me know that the trajectory of these relationships wasn't going the way I expected. It was actually the opposite. So I was like, oh my God, what's going on? It's kind of as if like, and then this is where I want to use the weight loss surgery. This is where we're going to use that analogy. So like when you're in the weight loss surgery, for those who have done it, I haven't done it, but I seen people who have done it. And, there is that right afterwards, there's a time frame where because like from the outside looking in, if you don't know, right, you expect that when somebody go weight loss surgery, they come out looking like, this a whole different size, but they don't understand there's some swelling that has to go down. There's some other things, whatever. So it takes a couple of minutes, right? Some weeks. I'm not sure the whole time frame, but I learned it was some weeks. So when I was in high school, one of the teachers, this is when I learned about it, because one of my teachers had got weight loss surgery, and they came back sometime after the surgery and they were still big, and they was like, what happened? And that's when we learned about, like, it doesn't happen right away. There's swelling and all these different things have to go down. And so then you'll see the results after a while, and which we did. So, but when you're in that stage of intense swelling, let's just, I don't remember how long it takes, but let's just say 6 to 8 weeks. And I'm just going to use that because I think it take that long. But let's just say 6 to 8 weeks. That first 6 to 8 weeks, you're like, what the? Okay, the first week, like, all right, fine. I get it. But then after that second, third week, maybe the third, you're like, what in the world? Like, did it work? Like, oh my God. So I was basically at this point where did it work? Like, oh my God. But then at the same time, like, no, I know it worked. it was a battle. So like my old habits would be like, it maybe didn't work, and maybe I should try this, and maybe I should try that. But at the same time, I was like, no, but look how I could not negate the feeling. Like, I mean, when I'm saying the feeling, I'm talking about when I said I was walking lighter, like I did lose it. I can feel it not there. I can feel like him still doing it, like the residue of whatever, him still doing it, the burning sensation in my belly. Like I can feel it. My mind was clear. Like I can see clearly now, right? I could see clearly now, okay? There were so many things that, I mean, it was just mind-boggling. And that's just like in like when you in surgery and they cut away, they cut away as much as they can, and then they choose what's the this is when you back to like cancer or a tumor or whatever, that they cut away as much as they can. But now that it's gone, then the treatments that you may do, they can see clearly now because it's not such a big mass there. And so now whether you go through treatment, whether you go to I'm sorry, what is that? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Whether, well, no matter what I can't get the word out, but y'all understand the treatment, the different radiation treatments, right? Chemo, thank you. When you go through chemo or whatever treatment that you need to go through to get the rest of the things out, right? You're able to see just a little bit what's the best method moving forward. And this is where I was. And so even though this happened, I was just sitting. I was a little confused, though. I was just like, God, what am I supposed to do here? I thought this means that this is going to whatever. But I did not know. But I did not know. It's like, Alisa, get your life. Like, I know better than you do. Like, I'm trying to tell you, this ain't it. This ain't it. Why would you want to stay in? This is a toxic environment. And I'm trying to get you all out of here because you are connected through basically by a trauma bond, and the trauma is gone. So what are you doing? The only way to stay here is to stay to stay with this trauma. Do you want it? No, I do not. That's the reason why I was on the floor, so you take it away. All right. Well, I'm trying to get you to see that. Okay. So, I usually quit. This is a time, I'm telling you, during these recovery, I usually quit. Like, oh my God, it didn't work, and blah, blah, blah. But this time I was like, no, I can't quit. This feels so great. Like, and I kept saying, listen, I kept walking around like I'm free at work. Jesus, I'll tell you, I think I got people nervous because, I was like, you just don't know. I was just crying every day because of all that he has. And then seeing my babies, I think that it wasn't just me, but it was my babies. And I said, I don't want nothing to change that. Mess that up. Nothing to mess it up. That's what I kept saying. In May, and then in May, that was April, and then the rest of the April, like I did go on a fast or whatever. And I fasted the first 2 weeks of May because this thing was just like, what do I do from here? And and God was really like, Lisa, this is really what's happening. And I didn't know how to handle it because I was like, I expected to go the other way. And I was beginning to resist. But again, that recovery stage is very important. It's very important because it can change the trajectory of your future, right? And so I usually quit, but he was really trying to reveal that I want him to fix it, the toxic relationships, and fix it to sustain it the way I was trying to do it the old way, but to some degree, something newer. But he was like, no, because you're only bounded by sickness and trauma, and I can't do that, baby girl. I can't do that. So this common ground, this foundation of it is gone. and the majority of it's going, but I'm going. It's going to be going. We working on to be going all the way, and that's what I was feeling. I was feeling the displacement. Woo! I was feeling it, and it wasn't feeling great. Okay, it wasn't feeling great, and that's why I told you, when you heal, be prepared to. There's some displacements, or when you really get to the truth of your relationships and different things and whatever, you begin to like, oh my God, and can you fathom that once that's gone, like, because it's like there's certain things that you only bound with trauma, and once that trauma is gone, it's like, who am I without this trauma? So that's another thing I was learning, because I saw myself with this trauma for so long. It became a part of me. Now it's gone. I'm like, oh my God, like who is this person? Like, I didn't know what was going on here. I was going crazy. Like, it was ridiculous, but at the same time, I was loving how to be free. So it was a lot going on that first couple of that recovery period, the first couple of months. It was a lot going on, and that was the reason for the fasting for me, because I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But I was quiet, but I knew this time I didn't want to be like last time, just go backwards. I said, we're going to sit, we're going to figure this out. I don't know what's going on. Like, it was so many thoughts, so much stuff. We're going to sit and figure this out, because I'm not trying to mess this up. Because not only you did it for me, but you did it for my babies. Okay? For your babies. So we're not trying to mess this up. So now we're in June. Now we're going to talk about the first part of June, because June's 6 months, and we're going to end up the last part in the next episode. So now we in a long stretch. In June, because God was doing things, and he was showing me things and trying to show me the true nature of my relationships and things like that, and I wasn't liking it necessarily. We're going to say that it was like in the middle of June, maybe almost close to the end, because I was back and forth. Like, all right, I started to make some decisions where it's like, you know what, forget it. Since it's not happening the way I wanted it to happen, I'm just, we're going to do this way, right? Like, forget you. Because I like being free, and I like the way I was looking for being free. Like, I was glowing, and I just liked it. I liked the aftermath, but I don't know. Things wasn't happening. I don't know. The trajectory of the way I wanted the other people and other, to react, and they wasn't reacting. I started to like, well, I'm going to do it this other way, right? And God was like, nah, you're doing too much. You're doing too much. That's not what I'm trying to tell you. Because again, I still want to remember, I said I had that look at me, so that we all can get better and we all can have better relationships, instead of God is saying that's not how it's supposed to be. And so now I'm like, I was doing more things to say, look at me, like I'm free, like we should be, like, what is the problem? Why are you treating me like this? Because now because I was getting free and I was glowing and everything people was just treating me worse. It was bad. It was bad, you guys. And I was confused at the situations here. I was understanding. And why are you treating me like this? I'm not understanding. So I didn't like it. I didn't like the way at first. And I didn't how I chose my freedom. But my kids were free. And I refused, and I just didn't want to mess it up. And so I eventually, God had to ask me this question. Do you want me? Right? Or do you want these relationships? Because at this point, like, I was literally doing whatever I can to kind of keep the relationships, but like, I wanted to have my free self in these relationships, but my free it didn't fit. Okay, the trajectory relationship has changed because I'm free, right? Like, it wasn't working, and I'm like, well, I'm still trying to make it work. And it eventually said, do you want me? Or do you want these relationships? And I was just like, you? Like, okay, listen, do you see me? I'm looking at my babies, and they're just, and they're pushing, okay, and they were. I don't have to tell them. We just all walking, crying like, "Thank look at God, look what you did." Like we were just, and we were just walking around this house, just like, "Look at, oh my!" Like we were just on cloud nine for like months. I'm telling you, we was just here. I ain't trying to mess this up. Are you serious, baby? Please. There's so many parents that would love to have their children in church like that mine is, to want God the way mine does. Are you serious? Baby, please, I ain't trying to mess this up. Baby, please, no, nope, I want you. So my question, right, is are you avoiding your surgery because you're afraid of the deep cuts? Like, are you? Because sometimes you're going to get into surgery, you're gonna be, and when I'm talking about, he's going to cut some stuff, then you be like, when I told you to cut, I didn't mean to cut that, because that was the umbilical cord for these toxic relationships. Are you ready for that? Are you ready for that? Okay. Are you quitting during your recovery process because you're not understanding that the swelling, you're gonna be swelled for a little bit, and they gotta go down after a while? Are you? That recovery process is very critical, how you respond to the recovery process, because you could come in, and it's just like, even like, let's just say weight loss surgery, right? You come back and you swell it for 6 weeks. Maybe they said 6 to 8 weeks, and this the 10th week, and you're like, "Dad, this ain't going down yet." So you start going back to your old habits. But did you really want? The point is, did you really want to lose weight, right? So that's what I'm saying. That recovery process means something. It's just like if you do come home, because I used to get free and then not get rid of stuff that's going to take me back to the old stuff, the old place. And it's just like I said, it's just like you say you want to lose weight, but you don't get rid of those things that help you stay the size that you was, that you're not trying to stay. So in that recovery process, you come home, you have to begin to make these changes. And when the changes was happening, I didn't like it. God was just removing the changes. Like, okay, he's trying to show me the real truth of these relationships, and I wasn't liking it. And I knew that's somewhat the reason why I usually quit too, because I didn't like the changes that was made, and I wanted to keep the relationships more than I wanted him. This time we ain't doing that. This time, like, no, I want you more than I want these relationships. We don't play games over here. Because the reality, they should want you more than they want me as well. They should want you more than they want a relationship with me, and that way that relationship will work. And that was the problem. The problem is they did not want you more than they wanted me. They wanted the benefits of me, which is, I want the benefits of you, right? So but no, baby, we here, we with you, okay? So that's the first 6 months, and the next 6 months was something. It was something. So stay tuned next week, okay? This will be uploaded on Wednesday. And thank you for being here this long. And remember, okay, if you don't remember anything, keep those questions in mind, because again, are you avoiding surgery, right? And also, do not rush the preparation process for surgery, right? With every surgery, you have to have preparation for surgery. Do not rush that process, because that matters. That matters. Once you realize that you was in preparation process, because I didn't realize it until I got the surgery. I said, "Oh crap, that's what that was." But don't rush it. I told y'all guys, do not rush it. Take every time, everything you need in each area that you are in, no matter what it is. So until next time, know that you are loved, not just by some, but by the one. Right? The one who created you in his love. He don't just love you a little bit, but he loves you greatly. He loves you unconditionally, and he is not the only one. So do I. Bye. You are the potter, so I will be glad.